again, welcome to the ERC monthly meeting. Again, just welcome to our new commissioner, Jim. So we're glad to have you and enjoy your first meeting. You're welcome. Here at the commission, we really are interested in finding out how you are able to work on your MWBE percentages and what you were able to do. So not so much the actual plan, but more so the good faith effort is what we're most interested in. So having said that, I'd like to start, first get a motion to approve last month's minute from the commissioners.
So moved.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
All in favor of last month's minutes, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Last month's meetings approved. Moving forward, we're going to go right to the Housing Authority, our first plan. We have Ronaldo on the line, the cleaning of vegetation from fence lines. So Ronaldo, welcome back to us. And if you can just really talk about your plans as we can see in front of us, please.
Thank you, commissioners. I have Anna Jasm, who is the contract manager, joining me as well. So this is for the cleaning of vegetation from fence lines. The prime who was awarded the contract is Tri-Rivers Holding. It's a 5-year contract that they have with us, and the total amount is $477,700. So they are a MBE. They're in the process of gathering their paperwork to become certified, but they are an MBE company. There isn't a WBE on the project just because of the scope of the way that it's set up. The company itself would be doing the clearing of the vegetation. However, we did have other MBEs and WBEs did apply to the bid, but they were outside of the acceptable range for the contract. So I'm here to answer any questions that you all may have.
Commissioners, any questions? So Ronaldo, let me ask, you talked about you had some other WMBEs, but they were outside the scope. Can you just talk about that just a tad?
Yeah, so I believe their bid, so whatever their bid range was outside of the acceptable range of our independent cost estimate. So that's why there aren't any other primes on the project.
Okay. And who else did you say was on this call regarding this project?
Anna Jasm, she is the contract manager as well.
Okay, thank you. Anna, anything in regards to the, their MBE is percentage is tremendous. Anything on that WBE? I know Ronaldo mentioned the scope of work, but anything to add?
No, Ronaldo was right on. So yes, they were outside of the independent cost estimate. And then we had the discussion that also, with this project, they're really just clearing vegetation from fence lines. So there's not really anything to, they're not landscaping and or really much to haul in general. So there's not a lot of small or other pieces that we could put out there.
Okay.
So Ronaldo was right on. Thank you, Ronaldo.
And Commissioner, I also want to add that we do have Mr. Gabe Fontana joining us as well. He is a part of the Tri-Rivers Holdings, so he's was able to join us as well if you all had any questions about the business or the scope of work that they'll be doing.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Fontana? Okay, hearing no questions. Thank you all for your explanations. Can we get a motion to approve the cleaning of vegetation from fence lines under the Housing Authority contract? Can we get a motion to approve?
This is Commissioner Vasquez. I move to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Chuck, we get everyone, Chuck?
Yes, we have 5 out there now. Jenna's
Yes.
out the rest.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you all. Thank you, Ronaldo, Mr. Fontana, and Miss Anna. Thank you all for that.
All right.
Moving, yeah,
Thank
and
you.
you're welcome. If you all would like to leave, that's fine. We appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great day.
You too.
Thank you all.
Okay, we can scroll up to the next plan, please. Okay, so this next plan is the Lower Hill Block E, the parking garage and Live Nation venue. Project manager who's on the call is Mr. Kaplan. So representative from the URA or Mr. Kaplan, are you representing the entire bid?
Yes, good afternoon. This is Boris Kaplan. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes, we can.
Great. And I don't know if you see us in the conference room this afternoon, but we're sitting around a large table.
Yes.
And directly in front of me is our project engineer and a really critical member of our team, Olivia Grunsick.
Okay, thank you. We do see you. Thank you.
Great. And we had a few more members who had of our team who had last minute conflicts. They couldn't join, but I'll mention their names and their roles as I get through an introduction to this project. Again, my name is Boris Kaplan. I'm a senior vice president for the Buccini Polling Group, and I'm a part of the development team that's behind the Lower Hill project. I wanted to thank the commissioners and Mr. Durham for their invitation to appear this afternoon. And it's great to be back, actually, even though this is a new application. It's not a new project. It's an extension of our presentation last March and our efforts on the Lower Hill since that time. And we're always looking forward to getting feedback on the plans that we've developed and our collective efforts to implement those plans to date. I think the purpose of our presentation today is the Block E project, and I'll describe that in just a minute, but just wanted to again state that our goal today is to present our current plans and secure the commissioner's approval on our inclusive procurement plan for this project. And it's a project that we feel is backed up with impressive results that we've secured to date on other project elements, and also we have contractual obligations to pursuing these objectives in that there's a community collaboration and implementation plan with the Hill District that governs how we develop on the Lower Hill. And there are also terms of our agreements with the URA and SCA by which we have to meet the objectives that we put forth today. So again, just wanted to thank the commissioners for being here, for inviting us. We did have a very, very short presentation that provided an overview and connected to these numbers. Are we able to share our screen?
We can, but we'd really just like to hear how you were able to get to your percentages. So yeah, if it's a short presentation, we can indulge. Please do.
Perfect. I'm being told that I cannot share the screen someone else is sharing.
Oh, yes.
So, Upasna, if you want to stop sharing your screen.
Stop sharing. Thank you. You should be able to, there you go. We can see it now.
You can, perfect. Thank you so much. So just a super quick introduction to the Lower Hill District. It's the 28 acres on the lower part of the Hill District that's across Center Avenue from PPG Paints Arena. I mentioned that, that we're here as an extension of our presentation last year, and really just wanted to again say that this is a super important project that has a lot of eyes on it from across the city, because it stitches together the Hill District with the downtown. It's a very critical infill project. And as I mentioned, we did present our efforts on the G block last year. This is the F&B Financial Center that's at the corner of Washington Place and Bedford Avenue. Since the time of our presentation, we've actually worked very, very intensely with our third-party diversity consultant, that being Janae Smith at E Holdings, to help with pre-bidding, project promotion. We promoted partnerships between majority and minority subcontractors. And to date, we have contract commitments in excess of $41 million to minority and women-owned businesses on the construction of the F&B Financial Center, which is presently ongoing. The project that's a subject of a discussion today is the E Block, and that is, of course, a very complementary piece to what we're doing in the district, but it's a 2.5 acre project, about 400,000 square feet of development. It's principally two primary uses: a garage that services the entire district that faces out towards Logan and Bedford Avenue, and then an entertainment venue that shares the block with the garage structure that faces out towards Wiley Avenue. One thing that we've done along the way is we've built out a very deliberate M and WBE inclusion plan. This effort is led by our Vice President of Development, Mr. Bomani Howes. He's a longtime Hill District resident and has been very critical to our management team in finding ways to meet very, very ambitious objectives for minority and women-owned business participation in this project. As expressed in the Community Collaboration and Implementation Plan, our objectives are 30% MBE and 15% WBE. And so we presented elements of our plan last year, but obviously it involves connecting with a very, very broad range of M and WBEs, both large and small, and making sure that our engagement starts during pre-development and extends into contracting stages. And again, we list some of our current metrics to date. And as I mentioned, that we were able to secure close to $3 million of M and WBE contracts for pre-development, and now it says over 40, I think the latest numbers, Olivia, are over $41 million across 40 different M and Ws for the construction of this project. This is some of the material we presented last year, but in the last year, since we were in front of your commission, we've expanded the number of M's and W's that are in our database by 50%. We're close to 500 firms that we're aware of across the various stages of construction. And we've been in contact with over 300 of those companies, trying to vet their capacity and make sure that they are positioned for opportunities on the project. And there's success beyond just the process itself. Close to 70 minority and women-owned business contracts have been awarded here over the course of the last year. Too many folks to mention, but it's an incredible team that's making this happen each and every day. It's not just a development team. We have public partners who challenge us to do more, help refine our plans, and help us really kind of have the impact that we're all striving for. Again, this might be tough to read in small format, and I'll share this afterwards, but it does break out the M's and W's in professional services and the M's and W's under construction. I've spent probably too long talking about Block G, but I've done so because it relates directly to what we're doing on Block E, in that we're taking these plans and really using the same methodologies, the same strategies for maximizing engagement and participation in the project. On a monthly basis, we provide reports to the CSIP Executive Management Committee. It includes Councilman Lavelle, members of the community, members of the development team, and we go through line by line how we're doing in breaking apart packages, awarding contracts, following up those contract commitments with actual contracted values. And in some cases, when we're in the field and things get off to to a slow start or a rocky start, our team is there to course correct and make sure that the M's and W's that are on the project are participating in a very meaningful and successful manner. Our numbers are summarized at the bottom of the page, where through the first $97 million of contract commitments, we were at 35% on the M side, 7% on the W side, but again, $41 million overall. If I can just make one brief aside, I mentioned that there's an incredible team making this happen. On Block G, our builder has been very instrumental in the implementation of this plan. We've been very fortunate to have PJ Dick support this effort. And specifically, PJ has built a team with a member of the team full-time dedicated to the engagement of M's and W's and the implementation of this plan. Why is that important? Because if you're not deliberate, if you're not playing out the playbook, it's very, very hard to meet these objectives. And people are taking notice. Not only has this plan been initially successful on the lower hill, but the manager for PJ Dick's efforts on the lower hill has now been promoted to a company-wide engagement and outreach position at PJ Dick. And they're taking this lower hill plan out to the rest of their portfolio to create additional opportunities for minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses across the PJ Dick commercial construction portfolio, which I think is very significant and a very good trend for both minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses here in the region. Real quick, we do have a new project we're very excited about. The work that we're doing on Block E. I did mention that it's a large 400,000 square foot project. The design team is being led locally by Des Moen. There's a large M participation in the pre-development process. That's THA Consulting. There's also a number of smaller contract commitments that we've been able to make by carving out elements of the larger design package. So for instance, when we did the design and engineering work for Block G, we learned that we didn't successfully offer an opportunity to Cosmos Technologies, a local engineering firm that had aspirations of working on the lower hill. Since that time, they've been, we've had outreach to Cosmos. We've gotten them involved in some of the public open space work that we're doing, and now more recently, working towards a contractual commitment for Block E as well. So trying to learn from ways that we didn't hit the mark the first time to do more the second time around. Again, just some pictures, not snazzy images, but just enough to demonstrate the scale of this project. And yes, this is a large commercial project. There's a precast element to this, and there's there's certainly some challenges in maximizing M and W participation, but we will certainly do everything that we've done before and then some to make sure that we're hitting the mark with inclusion. Where we are today is of the first contracts committed, there is about 36% M participation and 14% W participation in the project. I think we've identified in our application specifically the firms that are supporting the effort. Both I mentioned Cosmos, but to help us go further in these plans, we've hired E Holdings. That's Janae Smith's firm. They're a diversity consultant that was extremely helpful to us when we implemented the Block G effort, and we're glad to have them back in the fold to assist with what we're implementing here on Block E. That was probably longer than I had hoped to do as far as an introduction, but we're happy to take any questions from the commission.
Thank you for that, Mr. Kaplan. Very thorough. I appreciate that. Commissioner's going to open it up for commissioner questions. If any commissioner has questions. Seeing no hands, I think Miss Jenna, you had that up last, so I don't think that's presently. So Mr. Kaplan, of the WBEs, are any African-American women in those percentages?
Right. So off the top of my head, I would say one consistent participant both in the Block G effort and now the Block E effort has been Janae Smith and E Holdings. Okay. They're at the table making sure that we're learning from other projects across the region, being introduced to both minority-owned businesses and other women-owned businesses that maybe we haven't identified yet for this project. So Janae leads a very important effort. And then certainly on the construction side, we've had some successes with smaller women-owned African-American businesses. There's a miscellaneous metals package that was awarded to Missy Johnson, who's an incredible success story from our project in the first year. We've profiled her efforts in our newsletter. Excited to have her part of this much larger tower construction project. And our builder, as I mentioned before, PJ Dick, their outreach and engagement manager, Teresa Giacomino, has been a mentor to Missy Johnson, has helped her with union enrollments in other regions, and has really helped boost the success of her business beyond what she's actually doing on this project specifically.
Okay, it sounds like the reach has been extended even from last March.
That's something we wake up and do every day.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, anything else? Commissioner Siegel?
I also really appreciate the thorough presentation, and I'll just ask a more general question of what you all have been so immersed in this work. What general lessons do you have to offer, or have you been thinking about as you've been working on this project in terms of minority women business involvement?
Commissioner, how much time do you have?
Maybe a couple highlights. And really, we should have a further discussion because you guys are in this deep, and we could learn a lot from you, as could others.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing proprietary about this plan. I mean, yes, we've kind of put it together painstakingly and incorporated lessons learned from around the region and certainly from our real estate development portfolio. But I hate to bore people with like something that's really dense and long. But I think the plan is where it all starts. Like, we've really taken the time to be deliberate, to line up very specific steps about outreach, about engagement, about follow-up and vetting of capacities. And then, we've been very transparent in sharing our preliminary and ongoing metrics about how we're doing with our contracting efforts. So again, it's just truly blocking and tackling and doing the hard work, but we're happy to share the plan. And I would say that it's more than just an MBE plan. And I know this is the focus of our discussion today, but we have like a 90-page plan to implement this robust community agreement, the CSIP. And the first 15 pages are MWBE. The next 15 pages are workforce development. The next 20 pages are wealth building. The next 6 pages are legacy and community initiatives. There's 3 or 4 more chapters in which we've deliberately laid out our plans to make this work, because you can't have this kind of transformation in this catalytic effort happen unless you have a playbook. So we're happy to share those plans. And, and if people see ways that we can be doing more or taking this further, like, we're absolutely open to that.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Sweet-Cushman?
Yeah, I guess I have 2 questions. The first is, are you in here in any way tracking LGBTQIA plus participation or veteran participation? And the second question is, do you see ways that this plan could be scaled down for smaller projects? Because virtually all of the projects that we're seeing are smaller than the one that
Sure.
you brought to us.
Olivia, do you want to take the first question about veteran-owned businesses and the LGBTQ question?
Sure. I actually talked to Chuck pretty quickly about this topic. When we first built out the database, like 2 years ago, there wasn't really too many resources for LGBTQ plus companies. There were some on veteran-owned businesses. So I do have some listed out for veteran-owned businesses, but I don't think I have anything listed for LGBTQ. So I know Chuck was planning on sending his list, and then we'd be adding that to ours and kind of taking that into account going into future projects.
Can I be perfectly honest? There's a little bit of a tension involved. Anytime you kind of focus on an M, you may not get as much of a W. Anytime you focus on a V, you may not get as much of an L. So there's there's some inherent tension in that. We're extremely focused on this project on M's, and not only M's, but African-American owned businesses. And so we have to kind of balance all of these objectives and try to maximize them as best we can. But certainly to your question, the L now is very much on the radar, and will be an effort going forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions, commissioners? So we definitely appreciate your answer regarding the diversity of the MWBEs in the focus, even though you're in M's, but you have everyone in mind. And that's how we like our contracts to come to us, where there's focus on the all. So we appreciate that for sure. So having seen no other hands or questions, commissioners, can we get a motion to approve? Was that?
To approve.
Okay. Commissioner Sarah, second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Sweet Cushman, seconds. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand, please.
We're good, everybody. I hear from Andrea. Andrea? Commissioner Bell? Quez, are you there?
Do we need to do this again, Chuck?
No, we're fine. I'll reach back out to the commissioner. She must have got cut off somewhere. But
okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so we had enough to approve, so this motion passes. We thank you for your time, but again, to Commissioner Sweet Cushman's comment, we'd like to have our contract start to focus in on an LGBTQ population. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Right, and if there's anyone on the call representing the contract, you may leave at this time. We appreciate meeting everyone.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys. Okay, we'll go to Plaza's update on the ITQ contracts.
Okay, so 1 second, Chuck. I see Mr. Kaplan still in. I don't know if that's his. Oh. Mr. Kaplan, are you still in? Okay, we're good. Thank you. Go ahead, Chuck.
Go ahead, Plaza, update, please.
Yes, good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you all for joining. So this is just an update. We have 7 recent ITQ work orders. We have 6 DOMI and 1 DPW. So I'll just quickly go through each one of them. The first one is a DOMI plan. It's the Riverview Avenue landslide remediation. The prime here is DLZ, Pennsylvania, which is an MBE. And the contract value is $69,000. The next one is Riverview Avenue landslide remediation. The prime here is Ground Technology, Apollonia, and they have an MBE tri-state design and development on the plan. The project cost here is $86,771. This is a DOMI plan again. The third one is Grandview Avenue platform rehabilitation. This is again a DOMI plan. The prime is SP Thomas and Associates. This is a WBE. And the project cost is $84,229. The next one is a DPW plan. It is Homewood Park Construction Management Services. The prime here is Larson Design Group, and they have two WBEs on the plan, Studio for Spatial Practice and SP Thomas. The project cost here is $84,500. The next one is a DOMI plan, Riverview Avenue landslide remediation. The prime is DLZ Pennsylvania, which is an MBE, and they have a veteran-owned business, Drummond Carpenter, on the plan. The project cost here is $44,900. The next one here is project management, traffic and planning assistance. We have had a few of those in the past. CDR McGuire is the prime, and they have SP Thomas and Associates, a WBE, as a sub-consultant, and the project cost here is $85,928. The last one here is Celine Street Slide Remediation. The project, the prime is Dapolonia, and they have three MWBEs on the plan: Urban Terrain, Geomechanics, and ORM Contracting. The project cost here, they have another non-MBE, Geotechnics is also there, which is a non-MWBE, and the project cost here is $64,498. And these are the amounts which are apportioned among the three MWBEs. I'm still following up on the amount that will be allocated to the non-MWE because we track those as well. And this is a DOMI plan. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go straight to the manager's minutes, and that would be me. Commissioners, I have a request for you to review a plan via email. It'll probably be the first week in July. It's for El Paso Street slide remediation. Half the street is already gone. There's the house above it is in real bad shape of collapsing, and so are the houses below it as far as getting destroyed. So the RFP went out, I believe, at the beginning of this month. It will be, I think it'll be, the bids will close, I believe, Friday of next week, and they will pick a contractor that Monday. So I would ask if I could send that to you via email to vote on. They want to start this project sooner than later because every time it rains, this is a big job. I don't know if you guys know where El Paso Street is in Stanton Heights. El Paso Street sits over Morningside. So if you was to stand on El Paso Street, you can see the whole Morningside, and the street is falling. So that is a priority for the city. So I will be sending that to you in a couple of weeks via email. Is that okay?
Commissioners, good with that?
Yeah, definitely, that's fine.
Everybody's good
Okay,
with that?
Chuck, that sounds good. Thank you, Chuck.
Okay, and that's all it for me. The next meeting, of course, is on the 21st of July. We do already have 2 or 3 plans coming. I have 2 construction plans already set for that, besides the El Paso one that we're going to do via email. So it's picking up. I'm looking for the SEA to come back next month because one of their garages are getting ready to be redone. So this was a 37 minutes meeting we're in. The next 2 meetings, guys, July and August, might be a little bit longer. Just to let you know, okay? They might be a little bit longer, but we're going to try to keep everything under an hour for sure. Okay? We already have 8 ITQ contracts next week to be reviewed for POSNA. That's already in the works. So, yes, this was a short meeting. So next month and the month after, maybe a little longer, okay?
Well, I like to add that we should really focus on like how much time these are taking. Like these need to be tight, coming in and thorough. And if it takes us a full hour, it does. If it takes us 37 minutes, it does as well. But I don't think we're trying to race to the finish line to get these done. So, I mean, I think we're doing great on time, but that's not our focus. So thanks, Chuck.
And I also want to thank you for letting the URA do their presentation. I needed to learn that more than you guys did for my presentation to the mayor about the project. So I appreciate you letting them do their thing. So now I can do my thing to the mayor with the mayor.
Did they say that they would share that deck with us, that presentation?
Yes, so I'll make sure I get the presentation to share with you guys again so we can get it to the full commission.
Yes, thanks, Chuck. Great.
Yeah, because to your point, Chuck, like I wanted to see the presentation too.
I'm really glad to have seen it. I think there's a lot to learn for folks there, for us and others, and
absolutely.
Well, numbers make sense when we can see a presentation, and they were well prepared to explain it. So that was very thorough.
And it was thorough. It was only 10 to 15 minutes, which was really great. So, and that was great. So it worked out well, and I want to thank you for letting me do that. Now I have a better understanding myself of the whole concept of the Lower Hill project. So it helps me.
This is Commissioner Vasquez. I just had a quick question because we had approved one of the plans which had good percentages, but they were not fully certified yet. And I know in the past that we've had discussions about, we're approving them based on that, but is that something that we do in the follow-up work, or, how do we go about ensuring that they go through the full certification process for the money that was awarded?
Well, when the company's in the process of getting their paperwork, Commissioner, I'll follow that company all the way through until they get their PAUCD certification. So I will follow with Ronalda right through the process to make sure they have that upon the start of the project.
Okay.
So I do follow that very closely. Their certifications and their current certifications too. I'll make sure they're current when need be.
I think that's a fair question during the actual meeting with those contractors as well. Yes. So that they understand that how it works if they're not certified. It's a great follow-up question, but definitely one is a fair question to ask during the actual meeting.
Exactly, I agree. And I also want to thank you guys for bringing up the LT. I can't even say it right. Let's say the L's. Yeah. Because that is the category, guys, that we need to start focusing on a little bit more, because we have one company in that category on our contract. So once I go through Commissioner Strasburger with this, she's going to be like, where are they at, right? So I appreciate you asking those primes about that, and I want you to continue to ask the primes about that, because with Boston, I only have a state list of those companies. We don't have a national list. Okay, so I appreciate you guys bringing that up every time. Please bring it up every time.
Can we start including it, even though it's not, part of the legislation that we're created under?
Oh, it is legislation now.
It is now. Oh, right. So is it included in the, sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
Yes, it's in the form. It's in the form, and it's in the form for them.
Okay.
To reach out and to show the percentage of that community. Yes, it's on.
Great. I'll pay closer attention to. Thank you.
Can we include it on the forms that we see? So when you do the summaries, I mean, most of the time it's going to be 0%, but
yes, Commissioner. Dr.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Thank you.
Yes, I will put it on the synopsis. Yes.
Yes.
I will start adding it to the synopsis. And I just want to say one other thing. Welcome, Jim. Is there any questions that you have of what you saw so far?
First, just to keep everybody from being confused, my name is Arthur Jim Balthrop. So you see Arthur. So most people refer to me as Jim. This was a very interesting process. my question, I guess, is I noticed that by the time that we vote, everything is pretty much decided. I was wondering whether the commission has any insight into the pre-process, prior to getting to the table, because I noticed there's a limited amount of questions because everything was sort of automatically defined, laid out, but there are concerns and questions that I would have prior to that, like the number of local contractors, how many out-of-town contractors, what were the opportunities for local primes to get? So my question, Chuck, are any of the commissioners working directly with your office to get some of this pre-development information prior to looking at these contracts?
Normally, Arthur, you would see these a week before. Okay, normally you have the opportunity to see these contracts a week before and ask me any questions you want me to ask the primes or the project managers. The two that we have today came to me a little bit late, and I try to work them in. Normally I don't let them in, but yes, and those are pertinent questions that you can ask the primes yourself when they come to the table, Arthur. You can ask them directly. How many companies are city? How many companies are local? How many companies are women, minority, Black? You have that opportunity to ask them right at the table if you like.
Y'all, can you let Tracy in? She says she's in the waiting room.
Alice, can you please let Tracy in, please?
There is nobody in waiting room right now.
Okay, she must have left. Okay.
And one other thing, while Tracy was going to jump in late, guys, she had to recuse herself from the URA because the Penguins are part of that project. That's why she was going to jump on late.
Jim, I think your question is really good, and you know, you'll see that we do ask those kinds of questions. You know, on the local question, those are on the synopsises, right? I mean, we've started putting that on so we can see where the subs are located. So that's been helpful because they're not always in southwestern Pennsylvania.
Right. Normally, author a synopsis with that one, the clean vegetation. The first one was an NBE, and they were local. Okay, so they were the prime. Since they didn't have any subs, you didn't see me list any subs on there for where they were. Now with the URA, with the Lower Hill development, I could have listed all of them, but there's like 40 something of them. There's like 40 of them, and like 30 of them are local. Now, he explained that when he went through his presentation.
Right.
So I could have listed all of them and showed it to you. Normally I do, because there's normally only 2 or 3 minority or women subcontractors. So they'll be listed with the synopsis. So you will know if they're local, regional, or wherever they're from.
Okay, I'm not going to bore the commissioners with this. Maybe I can talk to you, Chuck, concerning this question, because as I get more involved, I would just like to understand things like whether or not there's opportunity for the prime to joint venture with minority prime contractors. I don't know whether most of the commissioners know I'm the president of the Black Contractors Association. So my members are encouraging me to solicit prime opportunities. It's good to have subcontractors. I mean, sometimes a subcontract can be more advantageous than a prime, depending upon your position. But in the future, I'll be looking to try to really engage prime contractors opportunity from a local level. So,
that's fantastic to hear.
Dialogue that I don't want to bore the commissioners with that. I could talk forever regarding participation of Black contractors.
Yeah, thank you for that, for sure.
That's be really valuable, I think, Jim, because you know, most of us don't have those types of relationships, and so we can hold the contracts accountable and the primes accountable when they come before us for the percentages, but we might not have a sense of whether or not it really wasn't feasible for them to find someone, and you might. So I think you'll see that you have insights that are really valuable here.
Yeah, I'm glad to share that because, like for instance, all of my, like my technical people, my engineers, my architect, by the time they get to the table, the project is already let, it's already, the horse is out the barn, and we have no opportunity. Those are huge contracts. So
that's why I encourage everybody to register on Beacon. Soon as that contract hits the street, those businesses will know that it's out there and who the prime is or who the primes are trying to get the contracts. And yes, Arthur, they can join other primes. I encourage that. A whole lot.
Chuck, then let me ask you, with Arthur having these contacts, is he someone that you can share out when these primes come to you, these contracts come to you, and they say they couldn't find or they're having difficulty? Yes. I mean, that's a prime resource.
Yes.
A prime resource.
Yes. Okay. That's fantastic. If we could get his NBA, WBE companies in our stable, yes, it'll be perfect.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Hall. You summed that up very well for me.
No worries. We're all on the same page here.
Yeah, we're on the same team trying to get contracts to minority, women, veteran, and now the new L category. And please, we need to push the L category, guys. The veterans, I do get veterans from time to time, which is great. I'm not seeing that L category community at all.
Well,
we got you, Chuck. We got you.
Maybe there's another conversation to be had with who was the director of the association that came to present with Erica with us.
That was the PA.
The Rivers Business Alliance.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's, maybe a follow-up with him.
Yeah.
And others. I don't know who else is out there that could help spread the word.
Right. And most of those companies through the PA that I just glanced at are professional services companies. Not too many construction companies under that category.
Chuck, this is Commissioner Vasquez. I actually made a connection yesterday that has a very, very wide network with a ton of various contractors, coincidentally in the LGBTQ community. So I will make that connection with you this week, today, probably.
Nice. That'll be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be great.
All we got to do is start having conversation and look how it ends up. So good job.
Good job.
Any other commissioner, any other comments before we get a motion to adjourn? Hearing nothing, seeing no hands, can we get a motion to adjourn our monthly ERC meeting?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor to adjourn, say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, everybody, for their time.
Thank you,
Chuck
Hall, for running it.
Thank you.